Donald Trump Jr. on his way to Capitol Hill today and under a microscope amid new insight into his June Trump Tower meeting with a Kremlin-linked attorney, Natalia Vetselnitskaya. Also in attendance, Jared Kushner and Paul Manafort. The Russian lawyer's 51 pages of written testimony to the Senate Judiciary Committee obtained by NBC News. In it, she says Trump Jr. was only looking for one thing at that meeting.
Donald Trump Jr. was at this meeting for one reason: to obtain incriminating information about Hillary Clinton. And once he realized she didn't have it, he lost interest.
Congressional investigators say Trump Jr. spoke to his father and attorneys a day after the meeting became public.
He acknowledged discussing that matter with his father, but refused to answer questions about that discussion on the basis of a claim of attorney-client privilege.
And tonight, new signs. At least one incoming member of the Trump administration was discussing easing Russian sanctions, according to a new whistleblower account detailed in a letter from the top Democrat on the House Oversight Committee. President Trump was just 11 minutes into his presidency when his former national security advisor, Michael Flynn, texted a former business partner to say a U.S. collaboration with Russia to build nuclear reactors in the Middle East was good to go, and that any new sanctions that could block the nuclear project would be ripped up once Trump was in the Oval Office. Kristen Welker, NBC News, the White House.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here, and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.